Yo, family, what is good? Welcome back to another daily live stream. Still focusing a lot on Casper right now. As per community request, as of Bingo, was it Bingo? No, sorry, it was Buffalo. Buffalo asked me earlier today if it would be at all possible if I can make a video on the 2025 year for Casper, the achievements, the building, and I guess also the price action, what we saw as well. So in respect of the request and also to prepare for the video that I'll make within the next week or so, I thought this stream we'd go through, of course, the recent crypto and Casper news, while also doing a bit of a recap on what we saw last year, 2025, and also what to look out for going into 2026. Plus also a very, very interesting new discovery, if you will, or new development coming from Begin Blockchain, which is the parent company of Ice River Mining, where you have seen quite a reassuring development where you've seen shares being bought by the likes of Oyster and Lee, which does further solidify their belief in a sense of Casper. We'll talk about that in a moment though. As always, family, if you enjoy the content, try to do this stuff daily now, leave a like, share with your friends, subscribe for more. We got Wing Hong in the chat. We moon yet? Not yet. We're looking at the market chart right now. Bitcoin currently at 90k, down about 1% almost on the daily time frame. Not moving too much. We did see it tap that upper level of resistance here at around 91.8, 92k. And now we're seeing it come back down a bit off the back of some kind of lackluster macro data, truth be told, and also the other real world developments we're seeing in regards to the Supreme Court. They were expecting to release their ruling on Trump's tariffs today, and that's now been delayed potentially to January 14th now. So that in itself, while it's that's uncertainty again, as we are investors, whether there's news, whether it had come out the verdict would have been in favor or against Trump. The verdict in itself would have provided some form of clarity, which investors prefer. The fact it's been delayed again is uncertainty. Investors don't like that. So we've seen it push back, and that's why the markets are acting a little bit negatively today. And of course, we are hearing some news as well that in regards to the regulations, key developments that will start actually fast forwarding the market and sending it rallying up higher. In accordance to those who are in the inner circles, like Eleanor Terrett here, she is under the impression from the talk she's had that March is the absolute earliest. And it could even be until the summer, until we see the House make the decision on whether we get the market structure bill. Once more, I've made multiple videos talking about this particular screenshot in question from Signet Bank, this classified document, this section here, which proves that regulatory uncertainty is the key and primary concern for institutions for whether or not getting into the space. So without this passing of the Clarity Act, we're going to see the markets probably still act in a relatively lackluster manner, or at least it won't be that euphoric explosion that we're all anticipating to happen at some point soon. We need to see regulators come through first and foremost, and then we'll see the market start to actually really garner some speed and momentum. But of course, a few months, therefore, we've got to stack and just bide our time and wait until the markets make that move. We have seen a lot of reassuring developments to come through this year, and also quite a lot happened last year as well, despite the market acting in quite a poor manner near the end. Casper is now currently down 0.60% on the daily time frame, equally like Bitcoin touching that level, that resistance zone here. Casper's at 4.8 cents before getting rejected and now being down today. We'll see where it ends up depending on Bitcoin momentum as well. Ethereum down to 3,081, and you're down 0.74%. If we look at the 2025 year for Casper, as we are going through the motions now, we started off 2025 much higher. Unsurprisingly there, we started off 2025 around here. At around 12 cents, give or take. More so around 11 cents, 11.5 cents or so. That's where we started 2025. We saw a nice little rally up here in the first months of January, which was pushed. This momentum was driven by a lot of what we saw from other projects. You know, as you look at your Bitcoins, your Ethereum, pretty much all assets made a peak during this December time, just before Trump was inaugurated. And even then, once he was inaugurated around January 19th, you saw most assets reach their peak. And then from Trump's inauguration, when he was actually in office, that first 3 months was not good. From January 19th, all the way down to Liberation Day down here, you saw a mass sell-off in pretty much all assets and then underperforming for the next 3 months. And then you saw them reach their bottom, where you then saw around Liberation Day, which in and around April, early April time, most assets reached their bottom around April 8th, April 7th. And then Casper actually was one of the best performing assets to make a recovery after Liberation Day, rallying up about 2.5%. Or not 2.5x even in value, because also during this time you saw the release of 10 BPS, which happened on May 5th. May 5th right here, so you saw a nice little rally of 50% off the back of that as well. Then you saw more developments coming out. We'll get through those in a moment. Ultimately, Casper price action started around 11 cents, give or take, and it ended 2025 in and around down here at around 4.5 cents. So you did see a roughly 60% correction in Casper. I say correction or pullback, or 60% down in value throughout 2025, which of course you don't want to see or hear about that, but this is the matter of fact. This is the reality of the situation. But it wasn't just Casper that reacted in this manner. The only asset that performed really, really well during 2025, especially in that last quarter, was the likes of Zcash. Well, Zcash actually did perform relatively well in 2025. As you look here, Zcash from 2025 down here ended around here. But even then, it had a nice rally. Zcash performed up. You had Zcash, you had Hyperliquid, so you had some winners in there. Casper, but ultimately, most, if not all of them, from their all-time high peaks that they made, be it in 2024 or 2025, they were all down 60% from that peak. But Casper, while the price was not good, you did see many, many developments that lay the foundation for what's going to take shape this year. And according to all of the research that I've been conducting, the daily institutional research I've been putting into my VIP community now, the one thing is very, very apparent. When it comes to the big banks and what they're doing right now, they have stopped testing and they have started trading. 2025 last year was most definitely the year of integration. 2026 this year will be the year we will see a breakout. That is the interpretation from many of the leading banking figures, from institutional leaders from Solana and Coinbase as well. We're going to see a significant push this year when the alignment happens with regulations, with the macroeconomy stabilizing, which we're still in a bit of a sour spot where unemployment is still cooling, it's still not great, and inflation's still holding relatively strong. The only thing that has really looked reassuring was the PMI. Other than that, most data has been coming back either not moving much or a bit down. So we need to see the Fed take some action. But unfortunately, in speaking of macro as well for this year, we did see that the recent PMI, which I did show to my VIP community as well, the recent, the recent unemployment, this is what the data came out here. So while the unemployment's come down a little bit, this data ultimately suggests the Fed will be able to just hold off and play that wait and see approach again. We have been kind of hinted at a possibility of 2 to 3 rate cuts before Jerome Powell's replaced. That still is very much on the cards. The data's not too drastic where a significant change in strategies need to happen, where they either hold off more so or take an emergency rate cut. But it doesn't incentivize more rate cuts, which of course investors want to see right now. Now, before we actually go into the full recap of what happened in 2025, let's get into a bit more of the questions real quick. So we have Gosu back once again. Welcome back. You're doing very, very well, my man. And you too, Kryptoni as well. What up, my man? Leo, yo to you too. We have, the Supreme Court. There'll be no tariff ruling, yes, and unemployment rates fell. The unemployment rate fell, which is good. You know, unemployment rate going from 4.5 to 4.4 is good. But it does incentivize that the Fed does not need to take any immediate action. Because the Fed's key worry right now is that unemployment is going to spiral out of control and get into recessionary territory, which right now is close, but it's not there yet. And that's ultimately why the markets are lackluster today, if you will. And yet the no tariff ruling, I think, while again, it is under my personal belief and the belief of seemingly many that Trump is going to lose that ruling. And that will probably cause some headwinds. But him losing it and causing headwinds compared to there not being a ruling, the latter is a lot worse because it's an uncertainty, the FUD that we just don't like as investors. They believe that they're going to end up releasing the verdict next week, January 14th. I'll believe it when I see it. It's been delayed once, it can be delayed again. I think they have the deadline is till, I want to say it's until April time. They've still got a long time to actually have an official confirmation yet. So we've still got a while to wait, but we'll wait and see. Falco, brother, with the 5 gifted memberships. Shout out to you. Thank you very much, my man. So shout out the lucky winners there in regards to Kryptoni, Blaze, Buffalo, LB, and Tony. All you lucky individuals getting a membership from Falco. You absolute top G. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it very, very much. And yes, those who are, I guess, want to get more involved in the community, you got the membership there. I'll be posting a bit more stuff in that membership channel as well. I know I did last month post one of the premium executive roundtables that I do in my VIP there, which those who did watch it, I know that Bingo watched it and he was really, really impressed with the content in there. So if you want to find out more, get access to some small little ticket, some stickers there as well. You can check that all out. Check out the VIP, Discord community, all of that. The links are down below in the description. Yeah, I don't know why you always get one either, Kryptoni, but hey, I mean, a winner's a win, right? Winner's a win. But yeah, there's probably not going to be any rate cuts until the next Fed chair. No, I still think we'll still get some rate cuts. There's still the interpretation that we're going to get at least 1 or 2 more cuts before Jerome Powell's replaced. Of course, that macro data could shift that sentiment, but right now, I don't think that's changed just yet. Welcome back, Nuck If. How are you doing? Very, very well, my man. What happened to Zcash and ZEC? All the developers left. Yeah, so as Kryptoni highlighted, yeah, the company, there was a bit of a dispute between, I guess, the parent company and the board, so the core devs disbanded and split off. People are now speculating, as I've seen numerous times, that the Zcash devs will probably end up joining Casper. Now, if that happens, that would be really cool. It'd be very, very cool if we saw that. There's no guarantee by any means we're going to see that happening. But if we do, I mean, who knows where Casper could go from there? Because, you know, the fact that Zcash is a centralized, you know, privacy token, but it's a centralized entity, we don't like that aspect, but we don't disregard the intelligence and the minds behind Zcash. None of us, for example, none of us inherently have an issue with Vitalik Buterin. He's a very, very intelligent individual. It's just a project. Ethereum is not great. That's not so much an issue. Vitalik Buterin is a very, very smart man. If he was to, for everything, join Casper, we'd be very blessed. So if Zcash developers to join Casper, we'd be very, very blessed. But there's no confirmation that I've seen that Zcash are joining Casper. Good evening, Greta. Good evening, Double D. And as always, good evening. Thank you very much for the members as always. Falco, you legend. Welcome back, my man. If it was up to me, you wouldn't get one. Well, there you go. Exactly. Towers are fine. I mean, the general consensus is still a very mixed opinion, right? I'm not going to delve deeper into this because it's not the area that I particularly have a lot of. I don't want to put it that way. But in regards to what we have seen, people anticipated that tariffs would cause a significant impact on inflation. It hasn't. So that already is kind of proved to not be an issue. But the manner in which they were implemented has been perceived as illegal. At least that's the Supreme Court's current verdict from the looks of things. We'll see how they actually verdict. And if they do rule it as illegal, then that could cause some issues. Because it would, by logic, therefore mean that America and Trump would have to reissue all that capital back to the countries they took it from with the tariffs. So we'll have to see what happens. But that would cause some headwinds. That's something that we spoke about a couple of months back or last month even to the VIP community about that potentially being a key element that people weren't paying attention to as a cause for concern. That could cause some headwinds, so you've got to keep an eye on it. Zuko and the Zcash devs are really close to Jonathan Topolinsky and built with him during the OG Bitcoin days. He mentioned it in the Binance post. Yes, no, he did see that. And we did also, which I still didn't get a chance to preload it, we did see a post as well, which came from Jonathan Polinsky, when he was talking in the Discord server about how when he went to Abu Dhabi, he was speaking to Zuko from Zcash, speaking to some key teams in Solana and even from the Near protocol, and they all were very interested and loved the idea of the block DAG and wanted to find a better way to push that technology and the knowledge of it out there to the wider public. So they do have relations and they do like the idea of Casper. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to join Casper. I'd love that to happen, but we haven't got confirmation as such. But of course, time will tell. And yes, I appreciate very much, Wyatt. Smash the like button if you enjoy the content, the news that I try to bring. Hopefully it'll be daily again now. I'll have to wait and see. But I'm trying to do it daily right now. I have no plans that's going to impact that for the time being. I've got some very big stuff coming soon as well. Hopefully it'll be coming from Tuesday. So stay tuned for that as well. Welcome back, Ape. Yo. When Lambo, please? Great question. If I was to hazard a guess right now, we've got to keep analysing the macroeconomic data. This sort of stuff here is very, very important. It gives us an indicator on where the market's going to move, how the Fed are going to behave as well. Big key factor. Geopolitical tensions will always cause some headwinds, so we've got to keep an eye on that. There's supposed talks about Trump going to invade Greenland. That would cause some backlash, to say the very least. So we'll have to see what happens. Trump's midterms of this year as well, that could cause some headwinds or tailwinds depending on the verdict. But there's a big, currently, to my understanding, is quite a big interpretation that Trump's going to lose his midterms. We'll see how the year unfolds and how it develops. My overall interpretation of 2026, provided we get no black swan events, is bullish. It is very, very bullish, considering what all my research is telling me. The stuff that I mentioned in yesterday's stream as well. This post here from Baker McKenzie talking about the regulatory reset happening this year, and in a sense how Casper slots into this bracket as well. Not that they name drop Casper, but it evidently does correlate to what Casper is doing thanks to KRI and thanks to DIR Energy as well. I think this year is going to be an absolutely huge year. When, Lambo, going back to the question, I think you'll start seeing, I'm hoping you start seeing some movement in Q1, probably latter half of Q1, which will correlate and align with what Igor Labs is releasing and stuff as well, which would be great. And then you'll start seeing a lot more momentum going into the latter half of the first half of this year. I think you'll end up, my belief, my hope, of course not financial advice, my belief and hope is you'll see Bitcoin make a new all-time high before July this year. So in the first half of 2026, you'll see Bitcoin return and surpass all-time highs, and that will start the snowball effect of all the other altcoins starting to push with it as well. That's what my research is telling me. If you want to find out exactly why my research says that, check out the VIP. I posted an interview in there earlier today, which came from the kind of inner heads and members from Solana, but it's talking in regards to what they've seen from big institutions, like what we saw at the end of last year of JP Morgan getting involved into blockchain and crypto, in regards to also the fact that we've got Vanguard, who's finally bullish now on crypto and ETF finance. These are big banks which act as kind of key catalysts. And when JP Morgan gets involved into blockchain, that is effectively vetting every bank on the planet to get involved in crypto, because they're the biggest bank in America. And they were the biggest drivers of the anti-crypto campaign as well. So when JP Morgan is saying, you know what, actually we like blockchain, all banks are going to be like, oh, you know what, we should probably look at that as well, if they haven't done so already. So, and that's going to all be kind of building and solidify, take shape this year. So I think this is going to be big. You can get access to that exclusive interview. Only got 100 or so views when I checked it out, and it came out like 3 weeks ago. So it's a very recent interview. And it talks about, and I also give my interpretation on what was spoken about in the interview, in regards to what assets therefore perceived to be kind of the top, in the top bracket and top guys of the institutions, which of course Solana is in there. Whether it'll be there long-standing, we'll have to wait and see, but it is currently in there. But I also speculate that Casper could very well be one that could be in there as well. So if you want to find that information, VIP links are down below in the description. You can find everything you want to find out about that in the free server as well. And 7-day free trials, also 1 month free trial for BYDFI as well. Go check that out down below. There were comments regarding Zcash devs leaving as bullish. Is that copium? I think the reason why is because, well, it depends on what market you're looking into, or what avenue you're looking into it. Because if it's coming from the Casper community, it'd be perceived as bullish for a number of reasons. One, because it wants more re-incentivizes that true decentralization is what matters, because that can't happen with Casper. And also that the privacy token idea is just it's more of a coin term as much as anything else. But also because we understand that Zuko and Zcash have relations to Tom Polinsky. And as a result, therefore, that could be bullish for Casper if they were to come on board. So that you could have it from that avenue. But if you look at Zcash right now, you can see in the corners of Binance, it's currently down 0.74%. It's not moving too much, but you saw that massive fall off yesterday. So you've seen it come down significantly over the past few days. This is when Zcash are left, so down 10% of Zcash devs left. And because they were the best performing asset in Q4 2025, seeing them start 2026 in such a negative light, it of course has not reacted very well for the market either. This is what so far in 2025 it's done nothing but go down, which is quite crazy to think about, considering that even Bitcoin has gone up since 2025 started. Bitcoin's gone up, Casper's been up since the start of 2025. Ethereum's up, everything is up pretty much. XRP's done fantastic, truth be told. It had that massive run up, which even CNBC were all over XRP this day, when it was up like 20% in one day or something stupid. Come down a little bit recently, but XRP performed very, very well this year, which is unsurprising given their reach and their partnerships. The BEC has done decently well as well. Currently up about 30%. And you see other assets also performing in their own limelight as well. But these AI assets have done very, very well. I think AI is going to be most definitely the biggest. If again, my personal belief, what I'm looking through into my VIP community, if you want to have some exposure aside from just Casper, at least I do, I'm looking at AI. There's some I've mentioned publicly. Tau, Virtuals, Render. Those three I think are very, very good. And there's some other little gems in AI that I have mentioned way back, years back, which are gems that they are some of the best performing AIs as of recently as well. And they're ones that I've mentioned in my VIP community as well. And they're, I think, going to be massive runners this year, given the AI run, how I think it's going to keep going as well. So, yeah, I think AI is also going to be a big, big market. Should you decide you want to get extra exposure besides just Casper, that's up to you, though. Welcome back, Ryder. You're doing very, very well. It's bullish because it pushes more people towards. Yeah, that's basically the angle that I was looking at as well. It proceeds as bullish depending on what avenue you go towards. If you're a Casper holder, it's bullish because it means that you're going to want to be going more towards the centralized projects that haven't got a potential point of failure as you would of a centralized entity. Every single project in this space has a point of failure because they have a centralized backing. If that centralized backing fizzles out, the whole project goes kaput. That can't happen with Casper. When adoption, well, funny you mentioned that, Dan. We are starting to see early signs of that already. As Roy O'Neill confirmed in the blockchain banter space on Monday, and equally you've seen some posts from KRI, Warp Core currently have a sandbox environment. So it's kind of already got a sandbox environment, and there are already banks using Warp Core. So you're already seeing that take its shape as we just start 2026. And it's a very, very big deal. So the adoption is starting to come in. Albeit slowly, but it's still coming in. So we're starting to see that. It's not caught into the price action right now, but it won't do. It's a kind of long game play. It will start to correlate to the price when the market starts to shift again. But you also, speaking of adoption, you've got even the likes of Marathon here, who are still stacking Casper, still mining Casper. You can see here in the last 90 days, they've had almost 12 million more. Last month, they have 2.5 million more Casper. Today, they've got 56,000 more Casper. They've currently got 56.2 million Casper holdings, which, considering what you saw at the start of 2025 last year, they had about they had 38 million, I believe it is. So they've got almost 20 million more Casper in the span of 1 year. They're still stacking it. They're still bullish. That's good. And speaking of mining Casper, you had this post here from Oyson Lee, which goes into this information here about how Begin Blockchain Limited, who recently went live on Nasdaq, they are a digital asset technology company with proprietary cryptocurrency mining technology. So they're crypto mining company. They're the parent company to Ice River Mining, and their chairman and board of directors and company founder or co-founder is Oyson Lee, as you should already know, as well as their independent director Paul Sang. And they basically recently just purchased additional Class A ordinary shares of their own company in the open market. Now, it just sounds like, well, therefore Oyson Lee and Paul Sang are just buying their own shares. What does that mean? Is that good? Is that bad? Well, overall, actually, that is pretty good news, in particularly in my perception from Casper as well, because we know that Begin Blockchain, parent company of Ice, they're the biggest Casper mining company. It doesn't have a direct correlation to Casper, but it does relate to Casper. So by Begin Blockchain and their primary source of revenue right now being the sale to Ice River mining or Ice River miners rigs, their primary source of income and revenue comes from selling the Ice River mining rigs, which is specifically designed to mine Casper. So by them buying their own company, it incentivizes their further support and belief and long-term belief and demand in Casper and its future. So that is a big deal. It's a very, very big deal. So it's a good vote of confidence. Therefore, I mean, we shouldn't be too surprised by that, but I guess further, you could argue therefore more Wall Street belief through Begin Blockchain in where Casper is going to be going from this point forward as well, which is fantastic news. So mining cap is still going strong, just by the hash rate starting to dwindle off a little bit, but all these are, helping lay a foundation. So when the market does recover, Casper then going to have that momentum and shoot upwards as sharp as anything else. Think about everything else coming out this year as well. Now, before we get into what else coming out this year, last year, 2025, was not a great year for Casper in terms of price action, but it was a great year in regards to what we saw come out. Just to list off a few of them, courtesy of Cas Media here, shout out to them. Crescendo hard fork, we mentioned that earlier. 10 BPS, officially therefore being 6,000 times faster than Bitcoin, officially being the fastest and most scalable proof of work decentralized system in the entire market. It was so monumental that even Michael Sutton, when it went live, he was shocked, as you would be. Of course, all the I's and dotting the T's, dotting the I's, crossing the T's, all the research suggested that it will be fine, but until you actually make it go live, there could be any unforeseen issues. There's not been a single mishap since the launch of 10 BPS, and it's been almost a year. That has not correlated to price rallying, because that's not what it is. It's a foundation building block, but it is a monumental feat that has significantly reinvented and reimagined the way that cryptos are going to function in the future. You have 10 BPS, absolutely massive milestone. VPOG's yellow paper also was released last year as well, near the latter half of it. Following Crescendo's demonstration of high-speed transaction ordering, Casper advanced its long-term application vision with the release of the VPOG's yellow paper. Developer apparently Michael Sutton went straight onto the yellow paper immediately after BPS was launched. Had no break whatsoever, which is really, really good stuff as well. Of course, we are becoming more and more aware of what VPOGs are, as it's a new idea that is kind of gaining bearing fruits, if you will, and we should be seeing the RTD hard fork, the real-time decentralized hard fork, which will allow functional VPOGs to come involved. We see that coming through in the next 3 to 6 months or so, according to the rough guideline that Casper Core have. So VPOGs coming out also be really, really huge. You've had Casper's long-running research efforts began translating into video technical signals. You've seen, we saw the early implementation of DAG. We saw a DAG Night sort of work coming out as well near the end of last year as well. So you're seeing more research coming out earlier as well. You saw EZO coming recently as well, which is also really cool stuff. Hans Moog also was introduced thanks to KF as well. So you've got massive intellectual minds who've got insurmountable amount of experience in crypto. They are also now joining the project. We've got probably one of the most experienced team of Bitcoin OGs and true crypto cyberpunk individuals in Casper right now, who all and it grew more in last year, 2025, and it's growing even more now, especially thanks to the hackathon event. Hackathon event is going to be starting next week, to my knowledge. That's going to bring a lot more that cyberpunk element as well to Casper as well. Crescendo, you can see all stuff taking place as well. Had a lot more stuff. Ori Newman also had some very big groundbreaking developments as well. Casper node network expanded steadily, reaching a 1,000 active nodes by the 4th birthday. And then by the end of 2025, Casper ranked among the most actively used proof of work networks by transaction counts, which is also a very, very big deal. You also had the release of Casplex near the end of 2025. Now, it hasn't translated to as much as we'd like to obligatory believe, which is unfortunate, but it's still a monumental feat. And we're going to be seeing the release of Equilab soon enough as well this year as well. But you had Casper coming out, ZK Ether compatible layer 2 in September. Zealous has been doing a lot of work seemingly as well. Moodbound Fervent Finance, KRC20, and then you've got Igor again coming out soon enough as well. You have real world adoption. That's also happened a lot last year. You had Wolfie's Bar that had been doing fantastic work. Probably one of the, I mean, there's a growing real world application right now on Casper, but Wolfie's probably one of the leading ones in that manner. And they are building in the UK. They've got a shop in the UK. They're going to be building in South Africa, I believe, soon as well. Amazing stuff what they've got going on there. I really, really love the content and the work they're doing as well. We're seeing many more organized venues. Of course, I went to Tokenized London Excel end of December. You saw different events in Hong Kong as well earlier as well. Casper's been really spreading out more and more in the world as well. It's been an incredible feat of what we saw last year. KRI, of course, doing their own things as well. It was a very, very big year, including the listings we saw. HTX launched at the end of the year. We had Hitbit, BTCC, you had Ascendex, Whitebit, NovaDAX, and many other platforms that launched Casper last year. Most notably, of course, it was HTX that came at the very, very end. Marathon, still mining Casper. We spoke about that just now, how they're still increasing their allocation of Casper, increased by 20 million odd last year. So last year was still a good year in regards to setting that foundation and growth for Casper. So when this market does revert and the volume and volatility start to come back, the price goes up, Casper is in a good spot to start rallying with, if not outperforming the entire market. We also saw Nick Szabo react to Jonathan Polinsky saying, P.S. I think block DAGs have a great deal of potential. So all of the leading cypherpunks from Zcash, Neo Protocol, Solana, Nick Szabo, the creator of smart contracts, they all think block DAGs are incredible. He says, but it is best realized when emphasis is put on applying the better trade-offs to improving trust minimization rather than on the dystopian such as performance. Bitcoin remains kings because so much have prioritized so many other ideas over trust minimization. He's just saying that block DAGs have potential, and we're going to see likely this year with everything else coming out, block DAGs really reaffirming the potential, starting to show the potential this year. He had some massive names talking about it. You also had many more Binance speculative leaks coming out last year. I'm pretty sure you also saw, I think last year might also been the year you had Casper on the Binance Squarespace, where it had the most ever viewership of any Binance Square by like 20,000 views, more than their Back to India video as well. You also saw more Bitcoin maximalists shifting over to Casper. Notably, VJ was the main voice, the biggest now Casper voice from Bitcoin maximalism as well. He's done very, very well. And much, much more. 2025 was a remarkable year for laying the foundation and building of Casper. Price, no. But the price of crypto as a whole was terrible, truth be told. But it was a great, great year for Casper in regards to just laying that foundation. 2026 this year looks to be a year that's going to be much, much bigger and much, much better. Which Casper also made a post about that as well. So here's what we currently got in the works for 2026 as well. TLDR, you got protocol progress, testnet 12 governance, which we spoke about in the video I posted yesterday, and equally in the last few live streams. Very, very big upgrade. Once it goes to mainnet, that'll be absolutely game changing. A massive added security level to Casper as well. ZK direction, Tom Polinsky highlighted carrier education as the most imminent priority for builders, citing Ethereum bytecode's provable safety and metering. You also had the Casper versus Ethereum framing, where industry discussions have resurfaced around the blockchain dilemma, which just happened recently. We'll hopefully be talking about that more in the coming weeks. You've seen how Casper's continue to grow more and more, and Ingra Labs mainnet prep has been also on a lot of our minds as well. So far this year is already looking pretty interesting. Cityscape, which is James Allen, he's been also talking more and more in regards to Casper and the kind of superior technology that it is, how it's designed, how it's better than ICP in every manner, makes it obsolete. The mobile phone did not steal applications from the desktop. It enabled a whole new type of application, similarly citing that Casper is in the similar sense where it's not going to necessarily steal applications from Ethereum, but it's going to just make it a lot better. Nacho, Ashton also recently joined Ecolabs as well, which is fantastic to see. So we're seeing the solidification of the Casper community and the development going on there as well. And there's been a lot more taking shape as well this year, and still got a lot more to look into. It has been, and this should be kind of glossing over all the key elements quite quickly. When I make the video in the next week or so, I'll provide a lot more clarity for what we saw last year and also how it may have impacted the price of Casper at the time. And of course, where the prices are right now. And then of course, talk about what we could see potentially going on for this year. But it was a very, very good 2025 for development. And thanks to that, laying the foundation, when this breakout happens in 2026 this year, Casper should see, in hopeful belief, should see a massive rally up. Casper's biggest shortfall right now is the lack of smart contracts. Well, you've got Casplex, but the lack of adoption in their smart contracts. Ecolab's going to provide another ecosystem for that and hopefully be very, very successful. You have VPOS coming on later on as well, hopefully this year. That's the belief, the strong belief from the core devs as well. Also, hopefully add a lot more adoption into the project that will correlate to increasing demand of Casper while the supply is still dwindling. Supply shock, price rally, we're all very happy and hopefully all very, very rich. Now just to get into, again, kind of glossing over some very key elements for what we're looking at for this year. It has been an interesting start to 2026 so far. I'm not by any means surprised by the manner. I would like to believe that this could very well have been now the bottom in Bitcoin, around this 80k mark. We saw that massive crash back here. Don't get me wrong, we can still go lower. We could still very much go lower depending on the recent and the recent incoming announcements. But as it stands right now, I would like to hope and believe that this was the bottom, which does therefore mean, for those who are paying attention, that was a 35% pullback from all-time highs. What have we mentioned time and time again? During all these massive market over, bears, FUD, all this periods of time, 30% has been that golden ratio. Even Trump inauguration deliberation day, that was a 32% correction, give or take, before you saw that run up to an all-time high. You go back to the 2024 year, where you saw ETS, Bitcoin ETS coming out. You saw that peak in March, and then you saw nothing for 6 months until Trump won the election. You saw the peak, the bottom here at 30%. Golden number again. Go back even earlier. Go back to the 2021 cycle, that initial run-up from the 2020 to 2021, the new year. January started here, 30% pullback before you saw that first peak up here. Now, of course, there was the anomaly of a 55% pullback during this period here. So recovery, then you saw a 20% correction here. But the most common, or 25% correction here, but most commonly, you saw a 30% pullback in value before you saw that pump upwards. We can even go further back. Go all the way back to the last cycle here. The cycle before that. Right here, you saw a pullback once again of about 35%. Before you saw that push up, even here. Saw a peak up here, 30%, rally up again. So 30% pull. This is of course much smaller market cap, much earlier time, but the common factor is, while I mean, I'm like to hope that we're not all doom and gloom right now about the markets anymore. We're kind of numb to that, if you will. But we have seen a 30% pullback, and people will scream the market's over. We could see more pullbacks, but this is a very typical corrective behavior in Bitcoin. And given what's about to be coming out soon, hopefully some more clarity regarding regulations, hopefully some more, developments taking place from the big banks starting to actively get involved into the space, utilizing the blockchain technology, with more developments from the individual projects coming out. In Casper's case, Ecolabs, RTD, the hackathon could also bring some certain eyes to Casper. We could see a lot more taking shape because, of course, then we got the midterms for Trump. We got these Supreme Court decision on Trump's tariffs. You got the midterms from Trump's one. You got some other developments as well. All of these stuff will also impact the market, but we're down 30% from all-time highs right now. This is not scary, considering what we have seen in crypto. Considering what we saw, this was still the worst liquidation event in crypto's history, by the way. I'm not ignorant to this flash crash we saw on the 10th. I'm not ignorant to that. Of course, it was terrible. But we've actually experienced much worse in regards to overall percentage pullback in the last cycle. And when you look at the percentages, we actually are perfectly fine. So the foundation is being laid. Hopefully we've now in our bottom, we're consolidating at this bottom right now, and we'll see that push later on this year, hopefully starting to gain momentum in the next few months or so, off the back of the macroeconomics and the Fed decisions, off the back of the new Fed chair that will hopefully be aligning with Trump, starting to slash those interest rates, starting to print that money and injecting it into the economy. All of which is seeming like an increasing possibility depending on the new Fed chair who comes in, which right now I think the leading decision is Hassett, who is very closely aligned with Trump as well, which means you'll probably end up seeing that 1% interest rates that Trump wants and QE printing. Will that hinder inflation? Probably. We'll have to wait and see, but it's just a time, therefore, we've got to latch onto the opportunity while it's there and get out before everything crashes, basically. If you want to find out more and stay ahead of the market in that regard, be prepared for what's to come and know what to get into, you can check it all out in the VIP. Links down below in the description. We're talking about that, looking at the other assets. We're looking into how the markets are moving. We're providing consistent updates, reports and whatnot going on in there. All the links to that in the VIP link down below. You've got 7-day free trial. Also, you've got a 1-month free trial if you want to BYDFI, which the information about that's in the fee server. You can find, again, information about that right here in the Get VIP Access channel. And they've currently got a Casper trading campaign going on right now as well, trying to get for $10,000 worth of Casper. Should take place in that right now. So all information, again, in the feed Discord service, go check that out. Links are also down below in the description. We've got one more announcement here before we get into some questions, but actually, you know what, we'll do questions first quickly before we get into the last announcement of this stream, which comes in from Buffalo, just saying he got a membership. Yes, you did. Lucky for you, brother. Congrats. And you too, LB. Valka the legend once more. Welcome back, Rizzy Busy. Just woke up from my freezer nap. Oh, wait, $1 yet? No, maybe a bit longer to wait. Maybe go back to sleep, brother, honestly. But welcome back, my man. Someone's going to crush the midterms. $1.50 gas prices. The market's going crazy. He will look like a god. There seems to be a massive divide in that. Of course, if that happens, I would be none the happier. But there's still there still seems to be quite a massive divide in opinion in that, because there's still one side people saying, yeah, Trump's midterms are gone. But the research that I've looked into, institutions like from Rockefeller, which is a very trusted investment company or investment research company, Rockefeller believes that Trump will lose it. You can get access to that document in the VIP as well, because I talk about those weekly. The big stuff that's happening right now, I talk about it weekly, and there seems to be under the interpretation that Trump will probably end up losing the midterms, alongside losing the birthright case, alongside losing the case of firing Fed Governor Cook. So there seems to be a lot that could disrupt the markets and how it's going to move, but there's not a negative thing. Overall, their interpretation is that we'll see volatility in 2026, but it will still be extremely bullish, which is where we're standing as well. But welcome back again, Buffalo Bro. You're doing very, very well. And you too, 8, welcome back, my man. Tripping saying don't do it. I'm guessing you're talking about don't diversify off Casper. That's completely down to you. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. You've got to do what's best for you. I do diversify outside of Casper. I was all Casper and stablecoins after the massive fallback. I've now started diversifying again into other assets, which I've spoken about some of these on this stream. And I've spoken about a lot more to my VIPs. I'm going to be making a document on that in the next few days, so you can find out what we're looking into and how they're performing in the VIP. I'm at Maxi now. AI in crypto might be fluff. Who will see? I mean, you've got you're not. It's not unwise to believe that. AI, there's definitely a bubble in AI. And I am completely aware that it's going to burst. The question, of course, is when. Now, most of the time you don't know when a bubble's going to burst, but I'm looking through these, classified documents and stuff that these institutions are talking about with their own buddies. And they are still very much in the belief that this bubble's not bursting yet. They understand it's a bubble as well, but they don't think it's going to burst just yet. It does very much depend on the leading AI companies like Nvidia, how they are performing. But I think we've still got a bit longer to go, and I think because of that, AI is going to run. I mean, you've seen AI do very, very well already. This is virtual so far in 2026. Had a run up of about 85%, coming up 63%. This is Tau in 2026. Had a run up of about 36%. up 27%. Render, the one I mentioned as well. And there are, of course, other ones as well that I have not mentioned on stream. But Render is fantastic. 2x. And then now about 10%. There's some AI projects that I've looked into that have done 5x's. Something ridiculous stuff in the first week of this year. So I think AI will have an opportunity. But of course, it's an element of this to it. So of course, do your own research and trade at your own discretion. You can find out more about that stuff again in the VIP. Biggest holder is at 5%. That is highly appealing for future investors, knowing big dumps can happen. Yeah, it's also true. The biggest holder in this entity X is holding almost about 5% of the total supply, which is a definite, and they're still stacking more and more. So it's a reassuring signal to investors that whoever this is still got conviction in Casper. I believe it's most likely a market maker of some element. Unless it's Binance. You know, Binance wants 2% of Casper total supply. Maybe they're trying to get to 6 before they start lifting the project. We don't know. I've already become a dolphin today, which is a big deal for me. Big stuff, Dan. Massive congratulations. Actually, it's very reassuring, and what's the word I'm looking for? It's very influential. Maybe that's the right word. Just seeing someone as yourself taking the initiative, or just doing your own research and taking the drive to want to learn more to better your life. Being a broke 19-year-old student, becoming a dolphin in Casper is massive. So I am very, very, not that it matters to come with your dad, but I'm proud of all of us. I'm proud of what you've been able to achieve, and hopefully we can see that manifest something really, really good this year. So shout out to you. Keep going, my man. Really, really well done. Congrats indeed. 100%. Any names? Keep stacking where you can. That's what we've all been doing right now. We're in a bear market. I am not worried one bit because it is needed. Bears are very healthy for proof of work coins. 2026 will probably continue to be bearish price-wise. If I had to bet, so what? I think we got similar interpretations there. I don't think we're in a bear market. You know, don't get me wrong, the markets have been terrible. And the fact that 2025 actually ended net negative that year. 2025 started around here and you finished down here. So, you know, we actually did end badly in 2025. So you could argue that was a bear market. I don't think we're in a bear market. I think we're just in an extended bull cycle in alliance with the ISM business cycle. That's what I'm more, I mean, you know, kind of almost, I guess, quoting Raoul Powell there, but I'm more under that interpretation. I think proof of work coins are a strong holding, especially Bitcoin in this regard. And I think Casper's also in a strong shout, being a proof of work and being superior in technology-wise to Bitcoin, and there's a lot of stuff coming up for Casper this year as well that's going to shake this space to its core. I think you're going to see some good momentum this year. I think you're going to see some volatility throughout all of 2026. Hopefully the first half you'll see an all-time high, and then you'll see that snowball in the second half with, I mean, there's interviews that I'll end up pulling back up again with my VIP community where you heard from Standard Chartered banks, some leading institutions, saying how in the first, by like halfway point of 2026 this year, one of the biggest banks in the world is going to basically finally get into crypto and now open the floodgates to everybody else getting involved. And that's going to likely align with the releasing of the Clarity Act as well. That's going to be a huge catalyst. And that's what we're looking out for. And you can learn all about that, access to the interview and everything else again in the VIP. VPOX this year, don't see it staying bearish at all. Yeah, I mean, that should, I mean, if the Casper Core can release that, then yes, I think you'll see it come out. VPOX will probably take much longer. We have no ideas, and it's the unfortunate element. But we have the consensus that we have, and some other, like we as, I guess, investors, but also other people like Shy, for example. Shy is under the interpretation that it's going to take years. Even Cityscape, James Allen, he thinks it's going to take years to do. It's a new concept. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, you know, they're not illogical for believing that. But then when you hear that Michael Sutton and Casper Corp actually been toying around with VPOGs for a long time, you heard Crypto Aspect. Let's see if I can try and load the post up. The Crypto Aspect made a post where he said that they've been actually looking into VPOGs for, I think, going almost 2 years now. While you only have a working yellow paper, so it's still extremely early, they've been trying to look into VPOGs for a long, long time. Pretty much since 10BPS, not earlier than that. So Michael Sutton is adamant that we can see it happening in the first half, in 2026, which, I mean, if he's adamant and the Casper Core equally adamant, then we can only hope that they are able to pull through on their belief. Where's the post about it? No, it's not there. I can't remember how far back it was now. But I remember seeing it and I was like, it's absolutely crazy. That's when you saw first actual issuance of some information regarding Dagnite, which is really cool to see as well. Where was it? It was around this period because it was early December we saw it. Here it was. Yeah. So the long and short of what Crypto Aspect said here is it looks like the MVP, which is a minimal viable product, which minimal viable product, as I mentioned here for clarification, is just basically the safe enough version of VPOX. So it won't be the full complete release, but the safe enough version that can be utilized and used, which can be publicly released, should be coming out within the next 6 to 8 months. So that should be hopefully by summer, which would be huge news. He said that in here, and you saw some further rebuttal with Michael Sutton, I think a little bit earlier or later on, basically saying that, yeah, I think it's possible. Might have been a bit further up. This is a very information heavy time around here. Yeah. So he said, to my understanding, usability and accessibility for third-party developers, key elements towards adoption, just got a fat upgrade improvement on the Casper network. Is talking about this is talking about something else actually entirely, to be honest. December for Casper in regards to what they were speaking about in itself was huge. Give a lot of hope and belief for what they're trying to build in 2026. Which is also actually helped stabilize its price a little bit, if I remember correctly. Yeah, December was, you saw a massive fall off start of December. Then when you saw them start to announce stuff, Cap actually made a bit of a holding there, which is quite good to see as well. But yeah, you see a lot of stuff coming out. I haven't actually followed up. I need to see if they actually have followed up on this whole like Casper media outreach team, but I haven't seen too much on it just yet. Although saying that, we just spoke about 2 Casper Media posts earlier. Casper Media actually have made this announcement recently, a new strategic partnership here with Syndica, I think how you pronounce it, which, as they made a post here, Syndica Advisory Group joins the team. Syndica brings a global team of over 60 Web3 professionals, over 85 delivered projects, and over $1 billion in venture portfolio. They'll support Casper.com across fundraising and investor strategy, tokenomics, and KCOM TGE execution as we scale the ecosystem, which is great to see from Casper.com. Actually, no correlation, that's Casper Media, still Casper.com, but either way, it's a great thing for Casper.com seeing that. Yeah, seemingly quite a big player, or relatively big player in the Web3 space. From my research here, they have had, I mean, it's a great vote of confidence for Casper, especially as well. While it's in contrast to Casper.com, you know, Casper.com is building on the layer 2s on top of Casper, so it's a good thing for that as well. Apparently, they've also Syndica has also formed some partnerships with DTC Group and Chainwire as well, for marketing elements as well. So it could bring more eyes to Casper with this partnership here. So great stuff for Casper.com as well. More strength coming to the ecosystem, which is fantastic news. Wouldn't mind it next year though. I mean, whenever it happens would be great. I would hope to see some momentum this year. I think we will do. I don't know if we can hold. I think with how the global economy is right now, I don't think we can just hold off for a whole year and do nothing. Don't get me wrong, the US economy has proven its resiliency over the years, time and time again. I don't think we can have a whole year of nothing. I think we will probably see some volatility. And then I think I saw something from Nicholas Sismill, the kind of CEO or the head, if you will, Casper Media, who used to work for Binance US, which I do agree with. We're going to see one of the biggest ever crypto blow-ups, followed by the biggest ever crash. I agree with that. I do very much agree with that. I think we could very much see it happening this year. You see the biggest ever crypto blow-up in 2026, starting momentum coming through, followed by the biggest capitulation ever in finance, because AI bubble will burst, or there's so many developments and catalysts and little niches being built out. Crypto is its own area. AI they have correlation, but it's in its own area. They've got so much happening. You know, housing's also it's completely unaffordable right now. There's so much going on right now. In the strive of this new economy, I'm very much under the belief that you'll see probably the biggest surge ever in finance, and you have the opportunity the unimaginable opportunity coming to us right now, followed by the biggest capitulation ever. It's not me trying to spread FUD. It's just it's an idea that I've been seeing floated about, which I tend to agree with. And that's the time where you know, you'll hope I'm hopefully gonna make our profits in this cycle, all make our gains, get out. We'll have to just hold strong, bunker down during this whole massive capitulation, and then we'll get in that dip and go rinse and repeat as we tend to do. I think Casper going to be a strong asset in this regard there. When everything goes to kaput, but Casper will hopefully hold strong due to its centralized nature and the adoption that's going to start coming through to it. Again, you want to find out more, check out the free server, chill chat and learn more of all of us in there, trying to learn more about crypto and Casper. And equally, you can learn a lot more in the VIP as well. Links are all down below. You just have the free trials and the service going on there. You get access to all the information, documentation that I showcased earlier. You get access to the whole Baker McKenzie document here we spoke about yesterday in that as well, and the other stuff we posted there earlier today as well. All there, and you'll be able to tune into the executive roundtable that's going to be happening on Sunday in 2 days' time as well. That will be going through all the information and what to look out for this week as well. The projection is around July. Yeah, that's the current belief for VPROX to be around July-ish time, around summer. So this can take their time on VPROX and Dagonite. I think Dagonite will probably take a little bit longer. We've already seen one little snippet from Dagonite, which came from Codera stuff. VPROX will probably come. We did hear from Michael Sutton they want to try and release a hard fork with them all together. I think that's what the RTD is going to be, this hard fork. I think you'll see VPROX and Dagonite come out separately. If I was to hazard a guess right now. Early December was so good to see, so much hopium directly from the team. Always Casper will do great. Anyway, Casper will do great in 2026. Putting price aside, more and more people shall turn into Caspians. Completely agree, any names. I completely agree. Early December was a fantastic time just seeing. That was like straight off the back of the Tokenize on the Next Sell event, where Jonathan Polinsky mentioned that he'd gone to that event and just actually interacted for the first real time with the community and their belief and how they felt about Casper as of right now, and how while they believe in what's being built, they understood that the price is terrible, and he actually realized the biggest problem was with the information gap between Casper Core and the community. That was the issue. I mean, there's a whole marketing yada yada yada, but that was the inherent issue, the big gap between the information that Casper Core obviously have while they're building on Casper and the community that we are, which is why during that early December time you saw Casper Core really engage with everybody, and they're still continue to do that, talking about what's coming out, and you also saw the workings of trying to get some external parties to help in marketing or media outreaching of Casper as well. I'm going to see more and more efforts by some key core members, hopefully myself as well, to spread more knowledge about what's being built on Casper, be it IGRA, be it KRI, whatever it may be, soon enough. So stay tuned, family, because I'll be coming to the community and this channel hopefully soon enough. A lot of them will be Bitcoin maxis. Yeah, a lot of them will be Bitcoin maxis, and they'll start to shift over because they'll realize that Bitcoin is losing that inherent value and its foothold because it hasn't got a medium exchange element to it. It's too incumbent, it's too slow, and Casper fills that void, being 10 bps and soon to be 100 bps and just have a much faster finality while still being Bitcoin level security, if not stronger, with confidence and other elements coming out soon enough, and the hash rate going up, making it stronger as well, and still then being secure, scalable, and decentralized. Welcome, Eric. You're doing very, very well. I'm late. I missed the gifts again. Unfortunately, you did. Falco was very, very generous earlier on. Hopefully, next time round, you will be here, present, and lucky enough to receive the late Christmas joy, if you will. And I do apologize for the timing, but that does actually conclude today's crypto Casper content. If you enjoy the content, as always, leave a like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more. 2025 for Casper, ultimately, price-wise was not good, but it was for building and even ended very strong with all of what was announced. 2026 started off very, very strong, and there's a lot more to look out for this year. I'll link both these Casper Media posts in my Discord server, so go check them out and read through them for yourself. You've seen Begin Blockchain buying some more shares, which is also good vote confidence for Casper. You saw Marathon scooping up more and more Casper as well. They're still mining it, which is great to see as well. And we'll see what happens next week for the Supreme Court, and we'll see what happens with regard to regulations as well. So stay tuned for all of that sort of stuff. That being said, have a nice weekend, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow, so stay tuned for tomorrow.